But in between now, of course, also a thank you to all the startups that we're presenting here. We will now have two, you could say, motivational or also educational speeches, especially targeting towards startups. The first one will be from Oleksandr Melnychuk from Honeycomb Software, who will tell us about how to fuck up your startup from A to Z in a step-by-step guide. And then he will be also followed by a colleague of mine, Anessa Mulevisirovic from Hadian Ventures, and she will educate you on what are the main must-haves VCs are currently looking for in the startup ecosystem. Out of that, I will hand the stage to Oleksandr to explain a step-by-step guide to us.
Okay, guys, thank you all. It was interesting speeches. Let me share my screen quickly because usually this presentation takes an hour and so, but we are limited in time, so let's be quick and be organized. So first of all, let's talk about me a bit. So I'm Alex, I'm CEO at Honeycomb Software for last 6 years probably or so, and I participated in a lot of startups. And so for different cases, how pretty much successful startup could mess up all the stuff. So let's try at least to concentrate from the vendor's point of view, because sooner or later, your startup needs some software and you need programmers, you need to develop it properly, and etc., etc. And of course, let's talk a bit about management. So first of all, let's see why we are here, essentially. Essentially, it's because of this bad and not exciting statistic. 90% of all startups, they fail, and it's not very good, and we have only 10% that should gain success. But if you look closer, you will see that 20 of those will die in the first year, 34 in next 2 years, and even more. So why does this happen? Essentially because all this business stuff is complex, right? But if you multiply it on stuff that called IT and programming, it's also even more complex. So that's the point of it. Let's proceed then. And first of all, we want to talk about things from business point of view, because let's say that you have your business idea and you have something and you need to write software. So let's talk about how to choose a good vendor. This is applicable when you actually working in-house or want to outsource out stuff, and it doesn't matter. So first of all, when you are going to buy some expensive thing, what are you going to do? You should Google it, right? You get feedbacks from your friends, maybe from other people that you know that they're using this stuff. Pretty the same is for development companies, development vendors, etc. Developers. You gotta know feedbacks about those companies. You need to understand whether some former client worked with her properly and whether you could utilize those services good. For this, my recommendation, not be lazy, just ask 3 former clients about it. If you're not familiar with that company, want to understand what's going on there, just go to clutch.co and read feedback. So this is a classic feedback you could see there. You could see domain for your particular sphere, if it's health and safety, etc., etc. You could find everything there and at least have understanding what's going on behind the hood. Another thing that many vendors and companies, startups, are trying to choose technology stack. And sometimes if you have somebody inside of a company who is married with particular technology, let's say that we and Marcus started some startup and I'm only focused in Python or C# or whatever, and I'm that centric guy that I'm trying to solve all the issues with all the problems, all software with that particular technology. Don't be like that. So the main goal of programming is to solve complex solution, solve that velocity that that should help our business for growing. And the technology stack itself, it should help you to solve problems, not to create it. So for this, it's very easy to understand whether a vendor proposes a good technology stack or you are good in the technology stack, whether it's good for your business. you could, first of all, investigate mentions on different things like Stack Overflow, understand whether it's alpha, beta version of that technology. You need to understand whether the community good enough for you, just to not stuck if that technology has a small community, and then you need to find another developer to scale if you're successful, and you just cannot because you are married with that tech stack and it has no community. And again, maturity, it should be mature enough. And choose about solving problems, not technology stack. If you are good in something for the backend, don't try to solve front end with the technology. Solve it with proper technology stack. Okay, another one that we often could see since with sweet tacos. Actually, this is agencies or vendors, etc., who could literally promise you everything, and they could do mobile development, backend, front end, machine learning. Actually, just put there whatever word popular blockchain, whatever. They do everything. In fact, more or less mature agency should be concentrated on particular technical stack or couple of technical stacks for the backend, for the front end. Some of those doesn't do mobile development or vice versa. Try to do like that. I'd prefer not to believe the sweet talkers. Of course, if it's not some big outsourcers that has maybe 10,000 of people on board, but I believe that's not the case for your startups just started. And let's proceed with poor management style. So this is another thing, and mostly it's for you as product owner. So first of all, sometimes you underestimate that velocity and underestimate what software is. And it's complex, yes, but management also complex, and all the idea of this management, it should solve you and solve that problem with programming. How? First of all, don't be unresponsive. I had a lot of cases when one of our customer could went for vacation for 2 weeks, and we couldn't access some logs for payment system site. It didn't work, and etc. How could we probably fix it? Very easy. Just set up urgent channel. You still start up. You should go fast, break things. So set up urgent channel. Doesn't matter whether it's some chat or email with particular subject. Just think about it and try to avoid such stupid mistakes that could kill all your users from your platform. Another one, let's say that you have 2 people on board, you're working, you're small enough, but it's going good, and you're actually trying to solve or approve all the things on your own. But this is a golden cage. Once you want to have a couple more persons on board and want to scale your business, your software, you are not able because you will be bottleneck. We had one customer from health and safety who literally approved everything, and for 1-2 persons it was enough. For 10, for 5 it didn't work at all, and it was painful because we had to explain that you should delegate. Instead, train your staff. Don't be afraid to put some responsibilities on those people. They could do that work properly. Also, it's not only you who could do the thing good. Think about it and train people. Another one, don't ignore problems. A lot of developers, a lot of vendors, they trying to express problems that might occur in later stages, and at least try to mention those issues possible. Try to gather those feedbacks from developer, just create technical depths, etc., but not ignore problems. It shouldn't be like that, because programming should solve issues, not ignore it. And use product owner should be smart enough just to listen to developers and don't have those issues on later stages. And of course, be organized. It could be obvious, and you might think that it's very kiddie, but instead define communication channel. If you have think whether somebody approach you in your company and ask you something twice, or maybe those 2 persons that ask about one thing. If yes, then you're probably in trouble, because you don't have any wikis, you don't have channels where you could find all information. and maybe you don't have something else. So again, don't be unresponsive. It's essential. Then you're not one who could do a good job. Just train your persons and give them responsibilities they could accept. And organization is a natural state of any business. If you're not organized, you're not successful anymore in this post-COVID world. It actually didn't work before, but now it's even more important. And probably this is example of a small team chat. You're small enough and you want to be organized. Just put everything in team chat or Slack chat or any else messenger you use. It will be more than enough for somebody else who join your project, who could find everything and he won't interact you, probably at least for such stupid things. Where should I find that one or how our system works? So it's just small example. It could be obvious, but it should help you. And we have probably some more time that we could talk about. And I'd like to dedicate the time for the UX and UI. This is probably one thing that your end customer see from user point of view and client's point of view. So what should you do? You should not ignore good UI. If you start some startup and you're ready to develop it, just spend some time or your resources for wireframes and sketches, because it's not very good to, let's imagine that you did some software and it's running, it's in MVP, or you already have customers and you need to rewrite the UI, you need to write business logic, etc. It's expensive and it will be much expensive. If you don't know how your process should look like, I mean, from business rules, etc., wireframes will also help you, because you as product owner would know how it should look like and etc. One more thing, don't let your developers write your UI. Actually, it's a redundant way and you don't need to have it. It's better to work with some UX UI expert who will provide the result that is fits for your business, good for users, and of course fits the business processes that you have, because it's cheaper to have some wireframe rather than just rebuild functionality because it was done by developer. It's just my recommendation. And again, utilize resources like Figma or other, where you could literally show it for your potential investor, how your application would look like, see all user journeys, and it will help for any vendor to estimate development budget properly. And one more tiny thing, that try not to create new experience where it is not needed. This is example, volume control. I believe you want to have it in your projects. If yes, then you're in trouble, because it's not killer feature. It's actually just a piece of software that kills your feature, kills your users. So of course, the simpler the better, but try to be realistic and try to use common sense when you build something. If you're not able to do that, just absorb some templates that are popular now, and it would cost you more, cost you less, and of course it will help you not to have such stupid things like that. Yeah, so I believe from my side it's all. Maybe you guys have any questions. We have a couple of minutes, right? So I could answer those.
Yes, thank you. We would have some minutes, so if someone wants to write any questions in the future, I definitely know now what not to do when I develop my first app, but unfortunately I think I don't have the competence for that. But thank you for the good insights, especially targeting the digital health audience here, and also, as we saw before, there are companies that also will help you in your development projects to make them hopefully successful and succeed instead of fail because of the reasons you just described to us.